A bit of a damp morning of head-to-head racing, but it's clearing up now here, you'll be glad to hear. And we've got a great race between London Rowing Club A on the Berkshire station and Thames Rowing Club B on the Buckinghamshire station.
Yeah, we've got the neighbours racing each other from the tideway, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of good rivalry between these two crews.
Oh, 100%, Grace. This is one of the matchups that every Henley, but also through the derbies through the years, this is the battle that everyone wants to win. And I think for one of the first times in a number of years, London coming into this as hot favourites in this Thames Challenge Cup event.
Yeah, it's always interesting, I think, when you come in as favourites, though, and sometimes it works in your favour and sometimes it doesn't. It can occasionally add that pressure and sort of add that level of expectation, but it'll be interesting to see how they can handle that and how the race plays out.
And they'll get plenty of that pressure thrown at them from Thames Rowing Club B. Thames, no strangers to this event. They're the holders of the Thames Challenge Cup, and in fact, they've contested in 8 finals since 2012. They've won a handful of them, and this B crew actually did well enough to be selected in this event as the second boat from Thames Rowing Club, Grace.
Yeah, they're very impressive, but they've been dropped a little bit off the start by London, so it's a very impressive start from London Rowing Club. And I think when you're in the 8s, the first couple of 100 metres at Henley is so important because the race goes by pretty quickly, and if you can get that momentum early on, it can be pretty hard to claw it back when these boats are going so quickly.
And Rosie, have you raced here in the 8 at Henley?
Yes, I've done it 1 year. I did 1 year I raced in the pier and the 8 at the same time. So yeah, we had the experience of racing in the 8 that year.
Oh, and how, what did you like when you were coming down this course? If you're London, you're out in front. What are the kind of things you'd like to be hearing at this point in the race, a few 100 metres in?
I think at this point of the race, when you've sort of shot out, I can guarantee they'll put in a lot of effort. So this point is when you really need to work on pushing onto a really good race rhythm, but not relaxing too much, because you don't know what other crews are going to pull out of the bag when it's match racing. So here right now we'd want our coxswains to be kind of talking us through the push down, and we always did that in quite gradual stages so we didn't undershoot it and then have to come back up. There's nothing worse than that. And it looks like this London crew has come onto their race rhythm very, very well, and it's an impressive base speed, and it just looks like it's that bit faster essentially than the Thames Rowing Club at the moment.
Well, it's the sort of hot favourites, like we say, from London against the B crew, the second crew in the event. If it was London A versus Thames A, it might be a different story, but this London A crew, you're talking about what the coxes will be saying, a very experienced cox on board. I know Rosie Margolis, who is, you can see her back here going away from us. She's actually a Henley winner herself from back in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup in 2016, those student Cox Fours event when she was racing for Edinburgh. She's been to 7 previous Henley Royal Regattas, so she will know this course like the back of her hand.
She will, and she'll be loving this at the moment. I was never a coxswain, I'm not the size for that, but I just imagine when you're coxing out in front, it must just feel like the most amazing feeling, whereas I think the coxswain of the Thames crew, it's a lot harder. What are you trying to say when your crew can no longer see the rowers in the other boat? And it can be pretty difficult because you want to be honest to them, you want to motivate them, but you want to try and get something out of them that I guess they're currently not being able to do.
And that's the job of Richard Hill in this Thames B crew. Well, we're talking about experience at Henley Royal Regatta. Rosie had 7 previous regattas. Richard's had 12 previous Henley Royal Regattas. And both of these crews will get a huge cheer in a minute because we're coming up to the Remenham Club. Both London and Thames members of that Remenham Club, part of the sort of unique set of clubs and athletes that come and cheer on their crews every year. But London looking really good here, Grace. And again, what is it about this crew that you think is making their boat go so well that they could be considered favourites?
I think in the 8, a lot of people approach 8s racing like it has to be really aggressive. You've got to get in and on the front and sort of jab it in. But in my opinion, and I think London is doing this really well, you've actually got more time around the front than you think. And they look like they're pretty long, they're relaxed, they're kind of coming around their riggers and then just dropping it in. And if you can get that connection around the front, then it kind of just makes the rest quite easy. You just have to hold it through swing back a little bit and do it again. And they're doing that really well in my impression.
And in my experience, we've had a bit of rain here this morning. It's cleared up, and the rain often, I don't know what it is, I'm not a meteorologist, but the rain, I think, and you can tell me if you think this is true too, tends to calm the wind down a lot when you're out there on the water.
Yeah, it does. I think as a rower, I learned to kind of love the rain and hate the wind. So yeah, now as a spectator, I could almost go either way selfishly. But it does. It's sort of, as soon as it starts raining, the water starts to settle a little bit more, and you can kind of see that happening. Still a little bit of a breeze there, but it just looks like London's got enough of a lead now that they can kind of start to ease down the rate, have a lot of fun. You don't often get to do races like this and actually enjoy it, but they're looking very long and strong, and I don't want to speak too soon, but I can't wait to see what they have to do when it's a full race from start to finish, because the way they're rowing at the moment is very impressive, so it'll be great to see them at full speed.
Well, depending on what happens in the other section of their draw, we've got Thames A versus Marlow A, so it could be a rematch against Thames in the semi-final if Thames A do the business on the other side of the draw. Now, Thames B, look, I do need to talk about the Thames programme within the regatta within the last few years, and we can see there the back of David Potter in the bow seat, the 26-year-old coming towards us. Now, Thames B actually made the final back in 2017, and they raced their A crew. So Thames B in the past have been of a quality to be in the Sunday in the final of Henley Royal. That must be an amazing feeling to be part of a squad like that that's been sort of snowballing since the early 2010s.
Yeah, and when you really think about that in numbers, I'm like, that's 16 athletes that you've made through to the final, and there's always going to be those people then that are sitting just outside of that. So it's really impressive, and I think it's a sign of a great program that, you know, someone probably comes in, they see how everyone else is training and kind of gets sucked into that. But yeah, both of these clubs have incredibly impressive programs.
And that's exactly what I think London are on the start of that journey, following that win last year in the Thames Challenge Cup. They've just really started to accelerate up that curve to bring people into the squad, and they'll have done another job to get through to the Saturday, to the semi-finals of this Thames Challenge Cup. They've not been in the final for some time, since back a while ago. So London Rowing Club will there win that heat of the, well, quarter-final of the Thames Challenge Cup.